This is Christopher and Katherine, your favorite 401 couple. And today we are really excited to welcome Bill Riccio. All right. Now, Bill is Vice President of TPA Solutions at SinglePoint AI. We're going to have to work on having that be RPC Solutions at SinglePoint AI, but that's a story for a different day. His career in the retirement industry spans decades, from record-keeping giants like Vanguard and Charles Schwab, to the advisory world, to TPA business development at CUNA Mutual Group. That's True Stage, right? But it wasn't True Stage when you were there,
That's
right,
correct.
Bill? Right. And to leading national sales at July Business Services. How many times have we crossed paths in the past? A bunch, right?
A lot. In many, we had some T-shirts as we met too. Yeah.
He has spent his career, were you cold or what? He has spent his career sitting at the intersection of plant operations, sales, and new technology. Not many people have seen this industry from as many angles as Bill has. As they say, hexagons are the bestagons. Okay, today we are talking about what that journey has taught Bill, about where the retirement industry has been, and where Al is taking it next, specifically through the lens of what SinglePoint AI is building for TPAs right now. Now then, for those of you who have seen this before, you know my shtick is with Katherine and I, we always have to have a treat, okay? And so for our podcast, we ask our guest to pick the special treat. And he has done gummy bears. And I did have my staff confirm that because I'm in Colorado to make sure that I buy them from a grocery store, which I did. Okay, in an unopened bag. So why gummy bears, Bill?
Well, and that was the whole Colorado theme, and I thought this was good too on top of it. So when I was a kid, long time ago, I think back to some of the memories that I had, and sadly my uncle had passed away in Vietnam, but fortunately his girlfriend at the time was German. And she had lived in Germany. And as a kid, she would go back to Germany and she would buy these gummy bears. And we would be so excited when she'd come over and she would bring the gummy bears. And really what it does is it's not, again, sad. It's not a happy thing around Vietnam, obviously, and him passing. But what it does is it takes me to a point in my life with my family, right? Family first, things that really matter. My cousins, my aunts, my uncles, and such important key moments of our lives, our foundations, and really, what it made us. And it just takes me to a point that's less crazy as today's world. Right?
I was going to say the simplicity of a good gummy bear, right?
Yeah, but also I never knew there was so much positive philosophy tied up in a little gummy bear. I am never going to have another gummy bear again without thinking of that, Bill.
Well, I really appreciate that. Crazy thing is, a friend of mine now is head of sales for the company that produces this. So
so their factory is just north of where we live.
Did not know that. So that's a fun fact. Now I'm going to think
southeastern Wisconsin, right? Yeah. Okay. So if you can get him to open up like a factory tour, that would be great because we keep waiting for it. All right?
I'm on it.
Now then, one of the things we do, because we like to be difficult, is we have the prior guest ask a question that they also answer, but then the next guest has to answer that question. So that does mean Bill gets to come up with a question for oh yeah. This also means we have to release our podcasts in order. What is your favorite sports team and why?
Wow. It's really, this can go sideways fast. It's really any Philadelphia team, but I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. And I grew up 30 minutes west of Philadelphia. So if anyone was watching the PGA this summer, Aronimink Country Club is in Newtown Square. Newtown Square is where I was born and raised. So I lived most of my life there. But when you grow up in Philadelphia, the sports are a lot. It's in your blood. And why?
It sure seems to be, yeah.
So passionate, sometimes crazy, but really passionate people. And as you take a look at that, Philadelphia Eagles are just, I get so excited about it. I follow it, I watch it, and I get angry or I get really happy. It's my mood going into Monday after every Sunday. Go Birds.
Okay, fair enough. All right, now we're into the serious stuff, more serious. And this is supposed to be a lightning round, but sometimes our lightning rounds have lasted 40 minutes.
Okay.
So, what's one belief about retirement success that you strongly disagree with?
So when you say retirement success, that could be two ways. It could be retirement plan industry success, or someone retiring successfully. Which one are you thinking?
I think we're meaning the second. I think we're going for the second one. Katherine, do you agree with that?
Right on. I'm good.
I'm just always looking for what's the biggest thorn in your foot. That's what I'm
from a
looking for.
retirement point of view, I think it's actually the word retirement itself, right? It's not the end. A person that I'm close with had said to me, "I'm retired." They said, "I'm not retired. I've graduated. I've graduated onto a new chapter in life." And so I think that as we go down this journey each and every day in our industry, retirement's the next phase. It's a graduation. It's what am I going to do next, not what a lot of people think retirement is, right?
Well, it's real funny because we've done a bunch of series of videos responding to people in FIRE. You know what FIRE is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Financial independence, retire early.
Yeah.
Okay. Not one of them has retired. They've all given up a single W-2 for multiple side hustles. In fact, many of them were sponsoring their own owner-only 401k plan, yet they're classifying themselves as retired with earned income, making future pre-tax deposits.
Well, if that isn't graduating with a different graduation,
I like the graduate word.
I think that's, yeah.
Now then, thank you very much, Bill. Biggest misconception about RPCs or TPAs that you hear from plan sponsors or advisors?
Yeah, this is a great question. So for retirement plan consultants and TPAs, I often see less value of what you bring in the eyes of the advisor and the plan sponsors at time. And I absolutely shake when that happens because of what it is that you're doing. It's like having complex taxes where you need a tax advisor, tax attorney, right? And you're using, no offense, like over-counter H&R Block, right? Right. And so it to me is you're not explaining, you're not demonstrating and representing them well. And too often I watch TPAs, it's when the plan sponsor's questioning fees or something, we can move this to bundle. And that drives me crazy. So I didn't mean to get passionate in my first question.
Hey, we're okay with that. You know, you're an Eagles fan. We expect a little passion,
exactly.
Right, Bill? Okay,
exactly.
It goes. It's expected.
It drives me crazy actually because it is so important. Yet it's often totally misunderstood and the first thing to retain business. And I'm like, this is backwards.
Well, it's one of the things we're I guess, I don't know, fighting. Although Katherine came up with heard some really good phrases yesterday. You know, in the Asteri Collective, we hear like, well, above 15 million, you go bundled. Based on what?
Right.
Why? Where did that metric come from?
Right.
So, what is a hobby or fun fact people would be surprised to learn about you?
Well, if you knew me in my 20s and 30s when I was getting my captain's license and I was sailing and looking to live in the Caribbean, and then to be a pirate, I guess. And it's funny how priorities and responsibilities come in and change things for you. And so now, instead of living even remotely close to water, I am landlocked in Arizona near North Scottsdale. So anyone that knows that I am here that knew me back then is like, this is so far away from what I had expected you to do. I've always loved the water. I've always been curious about the ocean. And I don't know if I wanted to be a pirate or Jimmy Buffett or what, but if you had talked to me back then, that's what I was doing. And yet here I am today.
Well, isn't there a really big lake like 2 hours north of Scottsdale?
Yes, there are many lakes here. There are actually more boats per capita here than anywhere else. Yeah. But here's the problem. I've been on the water. They don't know how to drive. Their boat skills are not very good. And so in the interest of staying alive, I try to stay off of the local lakes here.
Understood. Okay.
That's good. Okay. Well,
Now then,
yeah.
go for it, Catherine.
So the first thing is, wow, you see the whole field. So you've had a career across the retirement ecosystem.
Yeah.
And you've
Uh-huh.
sat on the record keeper side, the advisory side, the insurance TPA development side, and now the technology side.
Mhm.
What's the through line? What's the problem or problems you are always trying to resolve?
I've always been focused on progression or doing more with less. How can we do, from yesterday, how can we do better today, or tomorrow is better than today? And how do we just continue to take one step forward? And it really comes down to efficiencies, scales. How do we drive our business and our success, whether it's in our operations, whether it's in our sales, whether it's in our relationship management, right? And I have always been a nerd about just Six Sigma and process outliers, derailers, different sort of data information to identify the areas of concern and things to improve to make better outcomes. And then everyone's like, how in the world are you in sales? So it comes down
Yeah.
to tomorrow needs to be better than today, and how do we continue to see in a very positive light? Most people that know me, I got passionate, so at times I may sound angry. I'm not angry, I'm just passionate. But I'm genuinely someone who's like, we can do this, right? Let's go in, and how do we do this? And let's try to look at the yes. What is the opportunity? And so that's what motivates me. That's what I'm a nerd like that.
Very cool.
Thank you.
The retirement industry has a reputation for being slow to change.
Yeah.
From where you've sat across all of those roles, is that fair? And if so, why?
Yeah, it's absolutely fair. Unfortunately, I think we've kind of done it to ourselves. And I'm not saying it's anyone's fault or anyone's causing it, but what I think has happened to our industry, if you go back into the 90s and, we watched markets, just bulls were running and people were just making so much money. You didn't even ask questions. And it's forced us into a position that I believe that we were always so quick to say yes, that we have in ourselves in a position that, unfortunately for us, we have a lot of legacy technology. We have a lot of legacy processes and procedures in our industry. And not a problem, per se. The problem is, as we look to move and be more innovative, right, to move this forward, to adopt change, to adapt, to figure out ways that we can progress, to, again, my nerdiness, looking at ways that we could progress, we're often met with we're super excited. We have something. We get 85% down to doing it, and then something comes up and we go, we can't do this. We always find a reason why we can't do this. And unfortunately, I think we've had a lot of pressure in financials, right? We've had a lot of regulatory change. And with regulatory change, financial pressures, you have a lot you need to do and build with very little to afford it and pay for it. And things take a lot of time. They take a lot of people. They take, again, a lot of financial backing. And so I think what it's done for us, it's put us in this position of we're very siloed in how we think. And we don't kind of take a step back too often and look at the forest or the tree, right? And for me, I think it's just something that we kind of overanalyze. And we almost convince ourselves, and by the way, we have a very short attention span too, because by tomorrow, there's another shiny object that's coming at us, right? And so you kind of factor all this in, and we have more information coming at us more quickly than ever in history. And it's not going to slow down, right? And I think what is happening to us is we can't react quick enough because there are so many competing factors and priorities and budgets, dare I say budgets, right? So I'd say, yeah, we were very, very slow, but I think we're at a point right now where we almost have to change because this industry, everyone and everything does everything differently, and we have no consistency at this point as far as technology, and we know we need to do this. There's curiosity around AI. What does it look like? But if you were to position anything that you do to compliance and legal versus relationship manager versus operations versus sales versus the owner, right? The human brain is very different for everyone, right? And so as you're trying to satisfy all of those individuals and their needs, at times it becomes pretty complex. And so in doing that, I think we're very slow because we're trying to find something that's going to work in the easy button, right? It just works and everything works and everyone's on thing, and it slows us down. We spend a lot of time on that for sure. That's just my opinion. That's not a book I read or anything.
Well, the funny thing is, I'm going to agree with you and disagree with
I
you.
love it.
Okay. No, because it's funny. We have a couple of from our side of that. Okay. Let's see if this makes sense.
Sure.
Okay. So we have what I'm thinking of as this massive concrete column of the IRS and the DOL. Okay. And yeah, we got the little PBGC standing next to it. Okay. So we've got, and although they change, they change the rules, they're still there. And there's this massive monolith that isn't going to move and isn't going to go in. It's the reason for the industry.
Yep.
Okay. Before I continue, I think, were you there at our last day at the Asteri?
No, I was not. I actually was supposed to be in Florida, but I had pneumonia, unfortunately, so I didn't do anything.
Oh, okay. So you weren't when we did the technology part. Okay. So you've got that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think this is also part of what your company's working against is you've got these old legacy record keeping systems that are 30 years old.
At least.
It costs a fortune. It costs a fortune to make the slightest change. Okay.
You're right.
So then over on that other side, you've got that monolith of things not moving, because we were asking for a lot of things at the Asteri Collective and they're all like, we have no money for this. We can't make any changes.
Yeah.
Okay. They were built so you can't change them.
Yep.
But then we've got the aggregations, you got everybody buying everybody else.
Yep.
Okay. You got the rise of the fintechs. You got the rise of AI. So there's parts of this that don't move at all. They're so slow. And then there's other parts of it for us on the compliance side, we can't keep up.
I agree with you. Yeah, I see exactly where, and I agree with that ad. And so your first half of that was in line with what I was trying to say, right? And what I think it is. Your second half is, and again, it goes to my point earlier of things are coming at everyone so quickly that, we're keeping up with it. We're doing is what we want to see. We want to move forward. There's no doubt that we want to move forward, right? And a lot of times we are heavily reliant on the record keepers in particular, right? And they have capacity issues.
And also now the payroll vendors. The payroll vendors are now too becoming more important.
Yeah, and so as we do this, there's so much to that. It's so complex, and I think that kind of speaks to the point that I was trying to make there, is that we've gotten so big. There are so many tentacles in this. There are so many hands in the cookie jar that you have a business. You're a business owner. The more people that come in and are working with you potentially puts risk on you and your business, right? Because you're not controlling that. And so there's a lot of different things, but I agree with you 100%. There's zero disagreement with that. I think you added a lot to that point.
Thank you. Katherine, you're teeing him up for the next one.
Okay. Of all of the stops you've had in your whole career, what made you say yes to SinglePoint AI? What did you see in this that made it the right move?
Yeah, I have been saying, again, people that knew me even 15 years ago, I was like, we have got to get this industry to the next generation. We've got to get this industry for 15 years. I've been saying we have got to get this industry to the next generation. Based on what Christopher said, we've got outdated legacy systems that are really kind of slowing us down and making this very challenging for us to do this. SinglePoint AI, in my opinion, is the industry needs to get a new foundation. And what we are doing, what we want to do is take this industry, and through something as simple as Google Translator allows us to communicate with anyone. It forms a consistency, and that is in how we communicate, because I don't know how to speak Mandarin Chinese. Kids can, I can't, right? But I can now speak that language. How I envision SinglePoint AI is as an ecosystem, and as we want to move data and help navigate this industry, is not to do anything other than help expedite, move data, help with onboarding, help with things like restatement, right? We want to help the industry by going in and bringing that bridge to a very large gap right now. And I can't blame the record keepers, because every time the federal government sneezes, they have to stop everything they're building and build to be legal and compliant. And back when I was young, long time ago, the federal government would remind us that every 10 years they were keeping an eye on us. It felt like you just put some money aside, you knew it was coming, this and that. It's like every 2 years, it's like major changes, major changes, major changes. And so I think what we have now is SinglePoint AI is all that I've done. You take all that nerdiness that I'm talking about, all the processes, procedures, moving an industry forward. I love seeing what I get to see.
You graduated.
Graduate, exactly, right?
You graduated to the next
I
step.
took all of my stuff, PhD now, right? No, but the reality is every single thing I've done and I've seen in this industry is at a point right now where a big, major technology advance is going to help in all of those areas that I worked in. And so with SinglePoint AI, and why I love each and every day, is it is so incredibly awesome to see the upside potential of what AI can do and what we're looking to do. And our focus is not to build AI tools. Our job, we're looking at an ecosystem. How do we tell this industry, and how do we help this industry, I should say, move data and move it timely, accurately, and dare I say securely in a cyber world, right? How do we help move stuff, which tends to be a lot of the bottlenecking and a lot of the human capital that we tend to waste in this industry due to efficiencies and things like that. So this is like the perfect scenario for me, because it is technology. I love technology, but it takes everything I've done and it is the next generation. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm blessed to be in this situation because it's all my passions rolled up in one. It's a great question. Thank you.
There's one reason I wanted you on the podcast, okay, and it's very self-serving.
What is it?
I'm hoping you can finally explain to me what the heck it is SinglePoint AI is.
It is funny, and this is the tech environment, right? We all like to go out and we had a lot of confusion. What we are doing, especially as it relates to, there are two major things right now that we hear. And it's not our surveys, it's independent surveys that say that onboarding and data movement, data management, all of that is a real struggle. It's a real pain point for TPAs. So I don't need to tell you that. You're telling the world that. And you're telling the record keepers, we need you to do API, right? What we are doing is we have models that it's ingestion or upload. We use the term ingestion, but upload documents into a system. You're no longer forced or required to do what we do today, which is take a massive document, then read it and go through it, and then type that into another system and things of that nature. That's a heavy lift. What we do is we take the information, we ingest it into our system, upload it, we scrub that data, we take a look at your defaults, how you work. Our system is a model of you and your defaults, how your company works. And we take that information, we put it into the system. And as the system scrubs that data, it identifies failures, things that could potentially liability, aka lawsuits, if they're bad enough. And we red flag them. But more importantly, as we're going through this and we're scrubbing the data, we're putting it in a way that your employees can get this information quickly, quick red flags, but it allows you to also, with the plan sponsor, demonstrate areas of the plan document for which you would want to change. And once you make that and you come to an agreement with the plan sponsor and the advisor, if they're involved, you now have this information ready. It's data. It is data that we take that data, you look at it and you hit the launch button and it launches it to the plan document provider that you work with, FT Williams, ASC. Now, you've probably heard about the Voya partnership that we have. Very similar. As you have to go into Plan Digest for Voya, there's processes that have to go in. That data already pre-exists from that ingestion process. The information that we capture is there. So as we go through and we capture that information, we have it allocated to the buckets for Plan Digest for your employee to quickly review and launch that into Voya. We're taking a 120-minute, 150-minute process on average and making it 10 minutes. And not only is it faster, we love to talk about speed. Meanwhile, well, compliance and regulatory and plan documents is legal, it's law, it's accuracy of that plan failures, right? We have found that we are in the high 98th percentile for accuracy, and unfortunately, we humans are only about 73% accurate. So again, so if you look, and that is what we do from an onboarding, data management, moving data. Data is data, right? It's all there. You have to type that data into different things. Why? In the year 2026, our information, captures that information, knows your process, right? Your defaults, how you work, moves that to where you need to go, right?
So in the setup where we have both the most complication and the most integration with your system, you've got a takeover plan. Okay. It reads that, it helps us turn that into our Fort William document.
Yep.
And the takeover plan doesn't have to be Fort William. It could be, somebody else's, right?
Yep.
So you're taking this other document, you're essentially keying that in for us, helping us create our own document. And then you're generating. Do you actually then send the data to Fort William to create the document in Fort William?
Yeah, via API, but you have to push the button to launch it. Yep. But you got it.
No, but
yep.
We're not retyped. And also somewhere in the process, if somebody's also using Voya, you fill out the digest.
That is absolutely correct. And as we continue to move forward, and the interest just off of that alone has been tremendous. And
while the Voya thing is currently you're going steady, it's a solo relationship. You're not married. You're going to be seeing other record keepers soon.
Well,
is that the idea?
As we're looking at an ecosystem, we can't stop with one, right? And so as we look at this, what we want to do is allow this, because while some record keepers have built some API tools and to the TPAs, the feedback that we have heard, and again, this is not a good thing, we want it to work, is that it's one-to-one, and it requires a lot of TPAs to have to change what they do, how they do their work. We're trying to minimize that. We want to meet you where you are. That's the ingestion process. It learns you. It is you. So that's the important and key element of that, is we don't want you to change. Now, what's funny is TPAs come into our system once they start to grasp it, right, Christopher? They start to get it, right? Then they get in and they go, well,
it's only been a year and a half for me.
Right. There's still time, right? But as we look at it, people are looking at the other technologies and tools that we do associated with that, where you don't have to use yours. If you want to use our technology, which is 50 questions with radio buttons, people are like, that is super slick. Like, that is awesome, right? What we're trying to not do is force you to change anything that you're doing. We're trying to minimize that impact on you. Our system and the models will do that work for you, translate that Google Translator part, get us ready, hit the launch button, or you go to your next, right? But like you said, from a record keeping point of view, we're a copycat industry. Voya making that leap has certainly woken up the beasts out there. And we're doing this with the CRM system. If you're Pension Pro or not, we do it. We're integrated with Pension Pro, but if you're not, our system learns your CRM system. So we do that. We do the plan document provider, and we do with the Voya in this case, right? We're able to API move that over. So it's 3 for the price of 1. And again, we're not asking to change much. So it's very slick. This is why I'm so passionate about SinglePoint AI and what it is that we're doing. And the future is amazing. And it's a big lift. We need the entire industry. So right now, as we build, and where I'm getting to on that entire industry, we're helping with restatements at the end of this year. We're not doing restatements. We're moving the data for restatements, right? We have the ability to do amendments, right? We have the ability to help with that. We have an intelligent agent, which is mind-blowing to many, because think when you have to prepare for an annual plan review. In the old days when I had to do those, it was 3 to 4 weeks of me trying to hunt down information and saying, this is not what I need this. What if I told you could have your presentation, all the highs and lows of the year, and also what you should pitch them as a change to their plan in 3 seconds? It's our intelligent agent. It has access to all the document information, it has all the data. If you need to know how many loans are in a plan, you can quickly just type that into the system, it comes out in seconds. So what we're doing is we're accelerating the productivity of the employee. And that's important for everyone to know. We're accelerating an industry by accelerating their employee. And it's super exciting to do, but it is very much change, and it's not easily understood because there's a lot of different things that are out there. And I need every tech company that's working out there to be successful. We want everyone. There's plenty of opportunity, much like we don't have one TPA. There's plenty of opportunity. How do we do it? How do we differentiate ourselves? But what I would recommend is how do we all continue to just move data together, work together, right? Instead of against each other. Because I think the more we do that, it just adds confusion. I spend more time having to explain to people that I'm not Stacks AI 2.0 and that they do tools and they're great. That's not what we do, right? And people are like, I thought that you did that. I'm like, no, we don't, right? And so controlling the narrative is tough in this industry because we talk a lot, especially me.
Katherine, what are you going to do with the next two questions since he's kind of right ahead?
Well, no, kind of still though. The industry has kind of always been talking about bundled and unbundled. And what do you guys think about it? Are you guys going to shift it so that it's not even really, is that like a kind of a crazy way to separate things? Is there a different narrative to talk about plans other than bundled and unbundled?
That's a super question. First of all, I think you heard it earlier on, and I'm not just saying just because I'm talking to you and your TPAs, your retirement plan consultants, etc. That's not it. I love the unbundled model. I feel the expertise, the creativity. I think a lot of plans are out there, failed plans. They're just terrible plans. You know this when you get them, right? And I think that we've watered down the value of what, in many cases, bundle can do. And it's not to anyone's fault or when anyone's trying to do it. But in many cases, it's always been like, it's a process. It's not very consultative. And we get it done, we get it done, we get it done. Everything timely, we met the deadline, that's good. Bundled has a place. I don't know if it's the 15 million and above that Christopher said earlier. At times, I think it could be, how do you create a packaged product for some of the smaller stuff that's very, basic, very focused on this particular fund, right? Or fund family or however they want it, or advisor and their preference, right? My concern is with bundled versus unbundled, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I've heard that bundled is a significant competitor to unbundled, right? And so I want TPAs to use this. And I want TPAs to get into this and allow us to help you with your back office so you can be profitable. You can build more, retain more. Your book of business is bigger and better than you ever thought it would be. That's my goal. It's not to move business away from you. But this is an administrative function, right? The first part of that, where we're going through the plan review. And that's something that would be significant value to bundle providers. And so one thing that kind of frightens me about, and I shouldn't say frightens, one thing is I love TPAs. I love unbundle. I love the energy, small business owners, the passion, the willingness to just throw money around because we can't. We got to be very smart about this. And will you please protect me from cybersecurity? I don't have money sitting aside for lawsuits, right? I love that. The energy, the passion, the emotion, right? Dig that. But as you look to what AI will be doing, and as I look at bundled and unbundled in the future, I think there's going to be we're going to have to be really clear in what it is that we bring to market, and that being, from a TPA versus a bundled, and the business that we want as a record keeper. Because I would prefer to work with TPAs. And here's why. 85% of plan failure happens with the plan document and the administrative accuracy of the plan document. That 85% is liability. Liability 101, right? Risk. It's all my business. And so I think that TPAs can help shrink that number with their expertise and with leveraging AI. And so for me, bundled and unbundled, you need both. I think it's too hard. And by the way, I built the unbundled model for TrueStage, right? And I'm very passionate about that. But yeah, there's certain times where you're not going to convince them to go, and you don't want, like, I'm not going to keep fighting someone. And it's like, I'm trying to get them to work with me. Why am I going to keep fighting? So I hope that answers your question. But what does it look like in the future? There's a lot that can happen around administration. And we do need to get that 85% of planned failure down at that administration thing. I think TPAs are really going to be the ones that can do that because of the expertise and commitment that they have to that.
Cool. Well, Christopher, I'll let you take on the next section, which is AI, right?
Okay.
Are you taking notes?
We are right. Well, yeah, I'm taking notes. Again, I do this to learn. I do this for my own benefit. It's nice if somebody else watches it. Hey, I'm honest. Segment 3, automation, AI, automation in the future of retirement plan administration. Whether you like it or not, AI is becoming a major topic across financial services. What are you we actually finally, for the first time, we had a large plan auditor have us make a statement on our AI use for our compliance work.
Oh yeah, I'm not surprised.
And that was and we went, nope. We don't do that. Right. AI is becoming a major topic across financial services. What are you actually using AI for today at SinglePoint AI? Not the vision, but what's live and working right now.
So if I understand the question, you're asking me how we're using AI ourselves to manage our business?
Today.
Perfect. Oh, yeah. Man, we use it for everything. Communications, our strategies, our marketing, our presentations, our project management.
Are you real or are you an avatar?
I'm real, I think.
Oh, okay, just checking. Well, you said everything.
Everything, right, except for that. They don't want to duplicate me for some reason. But as you look at that, we use it for just about everything. Now, here's the one thing I will tell you. When it comes to us as well and me, AI is great. It gives us great. And a lot of times what it does for me is, you know when you're like sitting down and you want to get working on something and you can't get started, right? You're just kind of sitting there brain dead, right? It's awesome for a starter, but I make sure I review everything and anything that comes out from the AI and as we use it. Not that it's a flawed model, but I will give you a perfect example. This is a perfect time. So as we were getting the presentation for Voya, I was going through and it was helping me build this out, right? How am I going to pitch this? What does the plan look like? Tons of information that it would have taken me years to create, to be honest with you. But there was one thing, and I kept seeing it, and I'm like, I didn't even know that was an email address that we had. It had generated for us, for the process of this, a proposals email address. And man, did I go out right before I launched this and go, is this even live? No. So that, my friend, is why I use this all the time. I am not someone that when you look at my emails, you're going to see the dash. You're like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to see things. You're like, that wasn't Bill. He's not smart enough to write that. No, it was probably something that Bill made more like Bill and made sure that it made sense. Okay. That's how we use this. Now, again, this is our models are our models. So the more we keep this in our information, it gets smarter, it gets more robust, and it gets better. Somewhere along the line, someone had something in there about referrals as an email address, and boy, did that system catch it, right?
I'm just hallucinated it, yeah. But you're using AI to read the adoption agreements and turn it into text.
Oh, right? So I was asking. That's why I was asking for clarity.
I'm thinking everything. No, the whole thing.
Every single thing that we do and touch is powered is AI driven. But again, what we do for you as clients, it's yours, right? We're not cross revenue. It's not a public. It's a private. It's you, right? And so that is going to continue to learn you and as you do things. Same thing for us as we use our models for our own business. Yeah, I mean, we're running our information through it, marketing, anything. Why? The learning of the system and the repetitiveness of this makes this thing incredible.
So you're having it learn TPA specifically as well. I mean, so you would have it learn for that TPA specifically, but then obviously you're also using that to train the base as well. For
our base was started the training 3 years ago off our regulations. Right now, that's a foundation of it, and that's the foundation of the code, the legal, everything about it. It took a long time for our models to be created. So if anyone thinks they can just do this overnight, good luck. I wish you luck. But what now happens to you is as you and your business is on top of a foundation, okay? Anything that you do with us is all your information. It's not going to go to anyone else in the Stereo Group. It's not going to take a Stereo Group as a group thing and make this in. This is how you work your business. And that's the beauty of this, is that it's all contained. And when something needs to change for you, our models are learning you and the changes that you need to make, not that. Now, will there be industry-wide changes? Absolutely. And that'll be part of the foundational shift that we've learned over 3 years. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so
all right.
It's pretty cool.
2 more real questions. Sorry?
No, it's pretty cool. That's all I'm saying.
Secure 2.0 is expected to push the number of retirement plans past 1 million by 2029.
Yeah.
We're all hoping so.
Yeah.
How does AI factor into whether TPAs can actually absorb that growth?
I think unless something else comes out right behind AI as quickly as things happen in this world. But fact is, 2 to 3 years, if I ask someone about 2 to 3 years from now, what does this industry look like? We're all like, I have no idea. This is probably the first time in my career that we were all just like, I don't know, right? And so you take a look at what Secure Act 2.0 and that kind of volume, you're going to run into capacity issues if we don't drive towards scale, efficiency. So every single thing that we are doing right now speaks exactly to this, because we have our solution in the past has always been hire more people and supply and demand. When I was over at July or I was over at True Stage, you know how many TPAs would call me up and say, hey, do you know anyone that's looking for administration work? I'm like, you're number 27 in line. I'm like, we have a supply and demand issue, people. We don't have enough people with that skill set. No one went to college for that, right? And so as you kind of look at where we are, and it's not like people are coming in, we have more people leaving with that skill set, right? And so for me, we have to do things more efficiently, more effectively. And AI, to me, is going to help drive us to being able to do that. Will people be able to do that and limit their use of AI? Yeah, but you're probably going to be very specialized, because my biggest concern is for people that don't embrace this and want to do it that way. What if the top 2 retirement plan consultant groups or TPAs in your neighborhood all of a sudden are doing things for a fraction of the time and a fraction of the cost, and they're more accurate? And all of a sudden your distribution starts going that direction. You're gonna have to change who you are, which is not what you want to do at that point. But I'll tell you, really want, in my opinion, you're going to want to limit I want to be everything to everyone, get more targeted, and leverage AI. And so I think AI is going to be the main reason we're able to do this. Everything else has been too manual.
Okay. All right. So the next and last official question, Zach has given me a 2-parter, but we're only going to do the second part.
Sounds good.
What?
Yeah.
Somebody just walked in. Okay. Where do you see AI generally being an area of caution for TPAs? Where should TPAs be cautious about AI? I got my own ideas. Let's see.
Again, the accuracy of the information that comes out, taking stuff, just copying and pasting it, just being very lazy about it, I think is something you really want to caution. And caution your employees, right? It's not just you, Christopher. You can sign on for this, but you have employees, and are they doing it? Are you setting the right guidelines for it? I think change management right now, change management is caution, because we are, in many cases, if I ask someone their thoughts on AI, or if I say I work for an AI company, I just stand back real quickly and watch the reaction. If they love it, hate it, hate me, it's like, we just went on this journey. So as we look to adopt it, it's really important, and I'm going to caution everyone on this, as we're leading into the next generation, as we're moving in this direction. We really want to get into why the things that we're doing for our business, and allowing our teams to be more involved in asking questions and supporting. I've watched a lot of companies just go, we love AI, we're doing AI, start using AI. And I'm like, you just lost your entire staff, right? And so I'd say caution that as far as how you're pitching AI. Stay in the private. The more you go out into the public and you're out in the arena and putting your stuff out there, that is complete risk and liability. I'd say that's a simple answer to your question, but those are definitely things I would caution you about, and they probably represent a lot of what people should really stay focused on.
Well, there's supposedly somebody's building a system where AI reads the census and then gives you the compliance answers.
Sure.
And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's people out there.
I think you need some good old basic programming to do the math. You need something to be able to show your work.
Yeah, I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm not going to disagree with you because I don't have a crystal ball, right? But there are definitely ways that we can tighten it up. I'll tell you this. If my kids were coming out of school right now, I'd say work on human communication skills because you're going to be a relationship manager. Everything else is gone, right? Sales is gone, right?
So I am running out of gummy bears, which is really lucky because we're at the closing question. No, there's a big bag somewhere else. I allotted myself a certain amount for the interview.
Smart man.
Otherwise, I would have a very serious sugar headache. Now then, you get to do to the next guest what was just done to you, although that ended up being a really easy question for you. What is one question you would like to leave for the next guest on this podcast? And remember, it does not need to be related to finance.
Okay. How about if offered the opportunity to travel in space to space, would you accept it? Why or why not?
Oh, you're raising the bar.
Is that a good one?
That's a great one.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah. Holy moly. Okay. Now then, where can our viewers and listeners follow your work and stay up to date on what you're covering?
Oh, it's great. Thanks for that. Yeah. So LinkedIn, probably the best way to keep track of me.
We'll have you. Yeah. Okay.
As well as connect and follow SinglePoint AI. There's a lot of additional information. Nothing very sexy about that, Christopher, but it's the greatest way for us to kind of continue to go down this path and communicate for sure.
Okay. Well, this is Bill. This has been wonderful. I can't remember how long have you been with. You've not been with them 18 months. You weren't there.
No, I'm gaining on a year. I'm gaining on a year. I love the industry, everything about it. And this was just, oh man, am I excited and passionate about this. And so 1 year in a month.
Very good. So thank you for two things. Thank you for being a guest on our podcast. I greatly appreciate it. And thank you for making me finally understand SinglePoint.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now we have to, oops, I can't see it. Now we have to end. This is my last one. We can't go on. So, all right. Take care, everybody.